right, so we're back. This is John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And
Wow,
this is
Paul,
What If
Paul's
Geeks.
excited.
I know.
Paul's
Paul's
excited
coming in like
today.
the sound of God again.
I haven't been here in 2 weeks. Missed you guys. What's new? Tell me something good. You got a new kid.
Yeah, hey, you like that?
John got a kid.
They've been gone for 2 weeks, and I get a kid. So
You're gonna have to explain that because people are like, "Wow, what happened?"
Paul comes walking in the house like Han Solo out of the carbonite chamber. I've been gone for a little while. No one gets delusions of grandeur. Yeah. So, long story longer. There was a foreign exchange student coming into town, and the original host family backed out because, like, last second, because of a death in the family. So it's sad. Feel for them. But there was a post on our neighborhood Facebook, is there anyone that can help out because we're looking for a new host family for this kid. And Heather and I have been thinking about doing something because, we've been contemplating a lot somehow to help somebody out, give back, pay it forward for stuff that's been done for us before. Right. So we're like, well, we know nothing about this, how to do this. So let's at least ask. And Heather messaged the lady and asked about, we're interested in trying to help. How do you go about it? And that lady was like, I could be at your house tonight. So, lo and behold, that was last Wednesday. Today is the 13th. So that was last Wednesday. And Sunday, the 11th, here she comes. She's moving in. So we got this girl from China that's here, Mika. She's real sweet. 16, going to the high school down the road. And get ready to graduate.
All year? School year?
Yeah, she'll go home for Christmas. And then, but yeah, so.
All right, cool.
We're doing our good duty.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, trying to help out. Yeah,
nice.
She's a real sweet kid. She likes all the Marvel movies, so she fits right in with us. I'm like, oh, she loves geek stuff, video games, and whatever. I'm like, yeah, you're in the right house.
Right.
So, yeah. And then, of course, I got a cold, this morning, so that was great. I blame my daughter. She was walking around sniffling yesterday, and she's like, no, it's just allergies. So, this is not allergies. I'm dying. No, really, it's allergies.
Yeah, it's just allergies.
You have the same allergies I do. So you get them the same time I do. I said, I know the difference between my allergies and, when I'm feeling sick. My wife goes, how do you know the difference? Or she said, what's the difference between your allergies and you being sick? I said, well, when I'm sick, I yell at her for giving me a cold. And when it's allergies, I yell at her for not vacuuming up after cat.
Either way, it's her fault.
So, yes. All right, come on. What have you guys been up to? I beat you. I got a kid, so.
Yeah, not as good as my story.
Yeah. At least I walked into it knowing I was getting a kid.
Right.
Not the other way around. You come back, you're like, you got a kid? Yeah, I didn't know either. More sailors have that kind of story.
That's right. Let's see. My family and I were in Utah for 10 days. We flew to Salt Lake City. We rented a car. We ended up driving almost 1,400 miles, kind of clockwise around the state. Started in Salt Lake, as I said, went to Provo, did all 5 national parks. Hiking is a very strong term for what we did. So we have an 8-year-old and a 4.5-year-old. And so we would get out of the car and look at the rocks and be like, that's awesome. If it was short, we'd walk to it. If it was longer, we were like, it's not really our thing. I had to carry Presley at one of the parks about a mile, a half mile in each direction.
Nice.
So I was like, let's not do that again.
Yeah. So you threw on an extra 40 pounds or so?
Yeah.
So now you know how I feel every day.
I had the backpack full of all our stuff and a 40-pound kid who actually fell asleep as I was carrying her at one point. So we did all the parks. We ended up for the last 3 days in Salt Lake, 1 day in Park City. And then this came home Saturday, last Saturday, and then Monday was in Nashville for a work thing for a couple days. So nice. Here we are.
Awesome. And Eric, you left me too.
Yes.
Right?
So my family.
You and I recorded 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Without Paul.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Paul was doubly gone. Yeah. So we did 8 days in California, my family. So we did Los Angeles. Then we did both the Disney parks there. Went to the Galaxy's Edge, of course, which we'll talk about some other time.
Yeah. We'll drop a double episode this week.
We went to Oceanside and hung out at the beach. We did some hiking. Went to an observatory. We did the Warner Brothers studio tour, which was pretty cool. I don't know. We did lots of stuff. Hung out with sea lions. We kayaked out in the ocean to some sea caves. That was pretty cool.
Did you say the Warner Brothers studio already?
Yeah. That was like the last thing we did last day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all pretty fun, man. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I know Paul's got family coming in, so he's gonna leave us after this episode, and we'll record our second episode for the night. We can just do like whatever. We can just bullshit about the Star Wars experience that we had and whatever. But it'll be fun because that way, the one down here in Florida opens up like in another couple of weeks, so we can kind of get ahead of the curve there and let them go. But while you're here, I'm going to tell you this cute little story about Star Wars. So we're running around the park, whatever, and I see First Order troops going around. They're walking around the place, and the whole idea behind the park is like the First Order is they're occupying the world, and so any kind of Jedi or rebellion or resistance, whatever, are kind of in hiding, So at one point, you see a few First Order troops go by, and then I look over, and Chewbacca is walking about, a couple minutes behind them, but he's got a crowd of people around him, right? And they're all walking like with their hands up in the air like this, and he's ducking behind their hands, So 3 times I saw Chewie, and I kept trying to get my picture taken with him, but he was like running over here to do this or that, whatever. Finally, toward the end of the night, I see him. He's talking to a little girl dressed as Rey. And the other cool thing about this Chewbacca is it's much like, do you remember the Chewbacca lady, the Chewbacca mom from the internet, where every time she opened her mouth, the mask would talk? Well, this is like a way realistic version of that. Like every time he moves his mouth, this thing talks, right? So he's talking to this little girl or whatever, and she's looking at him wide-eyed. So he turns around, and I said, Chewie, can I get a picture? And he nodded his head real quick, and he stepped toward me, and he looked like he was going to put his arm around me. And I had just left the roast place, right? So I had their the Traducian ale in my hand, right? So the little pint glass in my hand, and he points at the glass and he goes, and he shakes his hand, and he walks away. So apparently he can't get his picture taken, which I get it from the Disney standpoint.
Chewbacca cannot be in a picture while you're drinking?
Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'll catch him later. And then I walked away, and I took a step, just 2 steps, and I thought, now wait a minute. I was like, this is really judgmental for a fucking Wookiee who hangs out in cantinas a lot.
Right.
I was like, you asshole. So I didn't get my picture taken with Chewie because apparently he's straight edge now.
Yeah.
So that was funny. I wanted to share that while you were here because I figured you'd get a kick out of that. So we'll continue on that later on.
Yeah. So Florida Man then?
Yeah, Florida
Man's. Or I got a super quick one I'll do. Headline is...
We've heard that about you.
Yeah. Florida man steals $33,000 worth of rare coins and then cashes them in a Coinstar machine for $30. So, I guess there's not much more to this than what I just said. But, the guy robbed somebody worth like $350,000 worth of stuff. This was in North Palm Beach. But among that $350,000 worth of stuff was $33,000 worth of rare collectible coins, and he apparently dumped them in a Coinstar machine at a grocery store and collected his $30 and bought a 12-pack of beer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Times are hard.
As the functioning alcoholic of the group.
Times are hard for Florida Man.
Yeah, Paul.
All right. So the headline of this story is Florida Man tells woman, "Hey, look at this," and pulls out genitals, charged with indecent exposure. And so I feel like some of these stories require us to say, look, we don't condone, when the story's about, Florida Man hits person with burrito, we're not condoning and laughing at domestic violence and all this stuff. So this guy, it's sort of the ridiculousness of the whole thing. So this guy, Florida Man, was arrested after allegedly showing a liquor store clerk his penis. But the funny part is, and that's, obviously we shouldn't laugh at that part, but what happens is he goes to the liquor store, he comes out, he shows the woman behind the counter, goes, "Hey, look at this," pulls out his junk. But then he tries to deny it. And later on when he gets arrested, he says, let's let's see. The guy's name admitted he went in the store, but claims his penis was out because he had just walked out of the bathroom and forgot to put it away.
Oops.
Look, I'm sort of forgetful sometimes. I've put things, I've picked up something, walked into a room, set it down, walked out. Like, what did I do with so and so?
Looked for your glasses and they're on your head.
Right, yeah.
Not once.
Not once have I left the bathroom like, oh, look at that, my penis is still out.
Yeah. That was my pickup line. That's horrible. All right.
Lord, I apologize.
Yeah, no shit. No, this is not gonna end well. I'm letting you guys know right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. All right. Florida man arrested for DUI. Says he smoked pot to prepare for Jesus to return.
Oh, see, I saw this one.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, well, and this asshole's got to read it, right? So, Carlos Guillen, Indian River. Cops pulled up on him. He's got weed and a bunch of alcohol he's been consuming in the car. So, they asked him for his license, and he handed over a vape pen that he said had contained THC in it. So... Asked him what he was doing. He said he was getting ready for Jesus to return. Me, personally, I was like, well, as soon as I saw him, I said, maybe they just meant Jesus. But
Lord,
yeah, wait.
Lord, I apologize.
Here, just to show you that I'm not the asshole in this group, all right? I mean, I am, but it gets worse. Whoever wrote this article is the real asshole, okay? They ended this article with, needless to say, if he's waiting for Jesus... He, like all Christians, will be staring at a watch for a very long time. As they say, he was nailed to a cross, not a boomerang.
Wow.
So.
Alrighty then.
So.
Wow.
If you thought the conspiracy theory was going to piss the people off,
right?
Yeah, I'll just jump the shark right now. I'm going to alienate our listeners right now.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm not waiting for conspiracy suicides and anything else. Fuck that. We'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, there's our Florida man.
All right, so
smoking pot, and waiting for Jesus.
Does anybody have what are you into? I've got a super quick one. I started watching based on a friend of mine. He made a comment to me about an episode of the show.
That's the longest title of a show I've ever heard.
I haven't seen that. So it's Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams.
No, but I wrote that one down. I want to see it.
Yeah, so I started watching. I watched a few episodes. Every episode is disconnected from. I mean, they're all individual stories, so they're all completely different. Completely different. Like I've watched some.
Is it
that
kind of
are
like a Black Mirror
good.
thing, or
yeah, a little bit.
What's it on?
I think it's. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Right.
I'm actually not 100% sure.
Oh, sweet! I can watch
this is the downside of. So I don't know if you guys have Fire TV sticks. But I bought Fire TV Stick, and you can log into all your apps, and then you have one search button.
Yeah.
And you can just look at everything all at once, so then you don't even necessarily
know
where you're watching it from. I mean, if you pay attention, you would know, but I don't. So I'm just like, oh, yeah, there's that show. So I've watched a few episodes of it. One of them I watched was bad, one was not too bad, and one was actually good. So we'll see. I mean, it's all individual stories. The opening credit scene looks like it's awful CGI. But the stories aren't actually that bad. They don't have the terrible CGI.
Nice. All right, I gotta check that one out. I remember seeing an article about it, like multiple TV shows to look for or whatever. Yeah. And I wanted to check it out, and I forgot.
Yeah, it's all sci-fi theme, like androids, and I mean, I think Philip K. Dick stuff was in the '60s, maybe even before that. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the show, of course, is newer than that. It's not. More recent.
I'll tell you what I'm into. I'm into this little rocket raccoon you brought me.
Oh, so, these things are awesome.
So just to show you how how to set the bar, we set up for this show, and right before the show starts, Eric goes, "All right, John, pick Marvel or Star Wars." I'm like, "I don't know, Marvel," and he hands me a little pop figure of an exclusive rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. So and then he turns around, and he hands. Paul, the droid,
DJR3X, the droid they made for Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so
very cool.
Again, just to show you how to set the bar.
Right.
Hey, come on in, let's go. Oh yeah, I got gifts.
Yeah.
Thanks, jerk.
Oh, Pop, it's not like Pops cost a bunch of money.
Whatever.
I just thought all my friends that don't live here are always like, oh, hey, there's exclusive Pops at Universal. Could you grab one for me? I'm like, okay, I didn't know. I didn't even know exclusive Pops were a thing. I don't collect Pops, so But
I don't really collect them, but Noah's going to hand
I have
them
one.
over.
Yeah, I have one.
I was going to take them when we
so
finished
now
the
that I
garage
know
and put
there's
them all up.
exclusive ones, though, I always go look and see, like, is there an exclusive something here somewhere? Because I'll grab it. Because if they're limited production and they're only available in one place, it could be a cool thing to have for somebody.
Yeah, no, this is cool
pretty
because
cool.
this
Thank
is like going to go right in with like the rest of my stuff, like the Darth Vader helmet and everything else when I set up the shelves back here. So
I tried to protect the boxes on the trip back, but they were in a suitcase, so...
It's all good. No, it looks good. It's Rocket.
Yeah.
He needs to be a little bit beat up.
It's Rocket with a headphone, which is relevant for the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride they have at Disneyland.
Right.
It's actually a reference to the ride. So,
which we've never been on.
we're going to spend too much time tonight talking. But you know the Tower of Terror they have at Hollywood Studios?
Yeah.
So they also
converted it
have
to,
one at Disneyland, but they converted it into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Yeah, because all the purists have lost their damn minds over it.
Yeah. So when you go in there, it's sort of a weird. It's like the collector guy. What the hell's a collector?
The collector.
Oh, he is called the collector. Yeah. it's like the collector's lair.
John, what's your name?
Yeah. It's like a collector's lair, and there's all kinds of like creatures that are moving around inside cages, and there's stuff hanging all over the walls. And you go into this little room, and Rocket's in there, and he sort of talks you through what you're doing, in the ride or whatever, because you're helping people escape or something, So he's talking you through it, and then right at the end of it, so if you're looking around the room, it's full of all this stuff the collector has, and some things are recognizable, and there's one thing that really pops out at you, and it's the headphones and the cassette player that Star-Lord wears, right? And it's sitting up in a case at the top, and right at the end of it, Rocket's like, ooh, I'm going to grab that, and he reaches his hand down. I mean, it's animatronic little Rocket, but he reaches his hand down into the case, and he snatches that thing up. So that's what the pop is based on. It's based on that little scene in the ride.
Awesome.
So this pop has, he's got the tape player in his hand.
Yeah.
Just like he does at the end of that. So
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, so again, we appreciate it.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, Paul, go ahead.
Paul, what are you into? Sorry.
So two things. Reading two cool things. First, Captain America comic book from 2018, written by an author named Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a writer who did a lot of work for The Atlantic, and what's interesting, and I'm going to do this delicately, is that he writes about culture and politics and social issues, especially he's African American, from that perspective, and writes a lot about white supremacy. He did a stint writing Black Panther. He's written a couple books. His parents were actual Black Panthers in the 60s. And so he's got this really interesting take. And so what they did is they said, why don't you write Captain America? The ultimate sort of white hero, right, from like middle America, blonde hair, blue eyed. So it's this interesting sort of, and the issues are about, in the story, Hydra actually sort of conquers America by using someone. They stole Steve Rogers' image, and led this takeover of America by fixing America's schools and giving everyone health care and restoring a bunch of jobs and doing this stuff, like this almost sort of a revolution without bullets.
Right.
And Cap spends a lot of time. Now there's fight scenes and all this stuff, but Cap spends a lot of time like on what America is now and how it's different than he remembers it, and so it's just an interesting
that's an interesting
kind of take on Captain America. So
and it's modern.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said 2018.
Yeah, it came out in 2018.
Is that the?
No, I meant the timeline of the story
Yes.
is like 2018 also. Yeah, okay.
Is that the Hail Hydra Cap story?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to read that. I saw, but there was so much.
It's like right after that.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of the aftermath.
Everybody
of that
lost
stuff.
their shit on that one too.
Yeah.
Like you're reading it now, so tell a good story. So, for reading, guess what? I'm still reading it, but I also started reading The Boys, so I'm splitting my time up with that.
Yeah.
I love that. I started watching The Boys too. Guess what? I got 15 fucking minutes into it.
Crashed out? What?
No, 15 minutes into it, and from the game room, Noah, Dad, come play with me. All right, fine. You get ready to go back to school. So Heather watched the first episode of The Boys, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna like it."
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we talked about this plenty. I did finish the season. It's good to watch, and not the ending you would expect at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the first couple sort of condensed, together in a graphic novel. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I got about 25 minutes into the first one, right where the new girl says he's like, you probably had a Homelander poster on. No, I was actually had a crush on you, and then turns around and he's pants her down.
Yeah.
That maybe since everyone will be asleep tonight when we're done.
Yeah, I'm gonna check. The second part of that.
I'm sure I've said this on a previous episode, but it continues to be unpredictable. Like you just don't see shit coming, and it's shock and awe, but you're still just like, okay, I didn't realize that. Yep, they're gonna go there.
Yep.
I like shock and awe.
Yeah,
I'm the one that just read that Jesus is not coming back on a boomerang. I'm an asshole, and even I felt wrong reading that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
The other thing reading is this book, Batman and Philosophy.
Batman and Philosophy.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of short essays by philosophers on different parts of Batman, like the character and the myth and some other stuff. So the first one is, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? Is it right to make a Robin? And these are like actual PhD philosophers who sort of weigh in on this stuff. Why Batman's better than Superman? Batman, Superman, the nature of friendship. Should Bruce Wayne have become Batman? And so it's actually pretty cool, and I got to figure out how to get some of these in a way that I can share them with you guys. Like this would be good conversation topics for this one that I'm in. I just got this book, so I'm in the middle of number 2, which is it justified for Batman to ever make a Robin? Like, is it okay
to
recruit a young boy, train him up, and put him in danger all the time?
And these are all really short. It looks like maybe 10 to 20 pages per topic.
Yeah.
Because the comics do
and they're
touch
like
on that a lot.
Footnoted from different points of view, and like they bring in different philosophers, Jung and Immanuel Kant and others to sort of back up their thing. So
the comics do touch on that a lot too. I mean, because the Robins, all of them have gotten together and talked about how fucked up their lives are and whatever else. But then they've also said the comics tried to make a point of it at one point back when Tim Drake was first recruited. I forget who it was. I think it was Nightwing. Yeah, he shows up and basically explains to Tim, like, look, he's better when he's got one of us with him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's too dark. So he's like, that's why. Basically, he explains to Tim Drake why Batman always needs a Robin.
Yeah.
Because it's like his moral compass kind of thing.
So. Well, and in the first one, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? Like, that's been referenced in comics too. Like, there are different, whether it's when Jason Todd comes back as Red Hood, and he's like, I get that you couldn't save me, but why didn't you avenge me?
Why is he alive?
Yeah. Why is he still alive?
I love that moment, too.
Everybody that he kills after this is on you for not doing something about it. And he's like, no, it isn't. It's on him. It's all on him. Like, right. So that argument has been going back and forth.
I love the fact that they actually put that out there.
Yeah.
Like, and to do it well. Yeah. There are times when like they grandstand, they get to a certain point, and then you're like, you missed it. Yeah. You didn't stick the landing on that one. Like that one, they really did. They did a good job with it.
Right. So interesting take on thinking about that stuff and the different school. I didn't realize there were so many schools of thought on ethics and that sort of thing. Are there things that are universally right and wrong, and then some things, do the ends justify the means sometimes? Like that academic debate is sort of interesting.
Right.
To do around comic book characters.
Yep. What else, Eric? What you got?
What are you into? I don't have anything else. I have a bunch of geek news I want to run through.
All right. Yeah.
You guys have any other what are you into stuff?
No. I'm reading, watching, whatever. It's just same shit as earlier.
Yeah.
All right. So on the news front, then. So Hobbs and Shaw, that came out August 2nd. So it was before we did or after we did our last episode, right?
Yeah.
So, again, it's at the top. They broke 100 million domestic since the release. I know, John, you're the only one I think that's seen it, right?
Nope.
You haven't seen it?
No, but Heather took Noah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Noah's seen it, and you haven't seen it?
Yeah, because I wasn't feeling. I was tired, so I was like, you know what? She was like, do you want to go see it? I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm tired. I just, I'm not going to really be into it. So, if you want to take him, because like she's been watching all of them with him. So she's like, well, Sinopolis sent me free soda and popcorn for my birthday, coupon. So maybe I will just take him. I said, go ahead. So I just kind of came home and chilled out and relaxed. Yeah, I was that night, like, they got back from the movies like 7:30. By like 9 o'clock, I was in bed, done. I was like, I just wasn't sleeping all week, so I was like, fuck it, I'm done. But yeah, they liked it.
Yeah.
There's, I'm not going to spoil anything because nobody's seen it yet, but Heather spoiled it for me. But there's a couple of cameos in there that are like really cool, and which is funny too because I mean when you hear the cameos,
if you follow The Rock
sense.
on Instagram, then one's been spoiled.
Oh, okay. Now I mean I'll totally spoil it just for the joke of what Noah said, but if you guys don't give a shit, I will.
Go for it.
Well, it's been number one for 2 weekends, so obviously it's going well. Yeah.
All right, so spoiler alert for the cameos in the movie. So apparently Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds are both in this movie, right? And she said that they're not in it very long, but they're in it, and it's good enough to where like oh shit, okay. And when Ryan Reynolds got out there, Noah kind of looked confused for a second, and he's like, like he knew him, but he wasn't sure, and he goes, "Who is that?" And Heather tells him, "It's Ryan Reynolds. He plays Deadpool." And ready, straight deadpan. Noah goes, "Oh, okay. Why doesn't he look like a hideous monster?" So apparently, my 7-year-old thinks that Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool is what he really looks like.
He's actually disfigured.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, Ryan.
Well, I guess there's ways to be cast type, and that's probably not one of the best.
That's right.
Deformed face.
I'm not an animal.
Yes. Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark, that came out last Friday. It actually exceeded expectations. It was almost 21 million for the opening weekend.
I want to see that. It looks so good.
That's based on the book series I was just trying to look up. I think it was from the 80s or something. I'm trying to remember.
I read them.
But anyway, so it's just one of the stories, but apparently it's doing well. The Kitchen, which we talked about on one of the Could Be Good upcoming episodes, complete flop.
The only thing we said about it, though, was... I think the only negative thing we said about it, because we were like, there's a possibility of it being good.
Yeah.
But we all said, do you believe any one of these women is going to be able to do that? Maybe Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish, except she's a black woman in the Irish mob, which really doesn't make a lot of sense given the time frame of the movie and stuff. And they play off that in the movie. But anyway, the average critic review on Rotten Tomato, 20%, is really, really bad. They had an opening weekend of 5.5 million.
Wow.
So that means for both Haddish and McCarthy, it is the lowest opening weekend movie they've ever had in their careers.
Wow.
So not doing well, and I had an interesting little tidbit that I read somewhere. I just thought it was really funny. 42% of the ticket sales were people 50 and older for that movie.
Wow.
So not only did it not do well, but they apparently targeted the completely wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Because that's based off a comic, and if they had really played on that, I think they could have just got people to come for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
But they failed on it.
I remember
You
seeing
got all
the trailers.
50-year-olds that want to see a mob movie.
Yeah.
Because they were waiting for The Irishman to come out on Netflix. Holy shit, have you seen that trailer? Oh.
I remember seeing the trailer for The Kitchen thinking, that doesn't look bad.
Right.
Like, I could see that. I haven't seen it. But,
sorry, ladies.
Yeah.
We were pulling for you.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to do well. I think that may be the end of at least strong woman projects for McCarthy, because she tried Ghostbusters as well, which was also a flopper.
Well, it's okay. Wait until October when the new one comes out. I'm sure they'll all be up there with picket signs and yelling and screaming about.
Yeah, because they're going to ignore the fact that there was a female movie and just do their own thing.
And rightfully so, because that female movie shouldn't have been made. Period. Sorry, don't try to.
Yeah, again,
push me off
don't at me.
This is post-release judgment, right? This is, it comes out, it performs like it performs. You see it okay. If it's bad, it's bad. You're not making that determination beforehand.
Again, it falls in line with everything we keep preaching, or at least I keep preaching. Like, just to gender swap something or race swap something, just to do it, is you should be offended by it.
Yeah,
that's the point. So you should be offended by that kind of shit.
That's the thing, though.
Make a good movie.
The timing of this is maybe suspect, but The Kitchen was a comic book that existed years ago. It was based on the same concept, so they didn't do it just to do it. It was based on a story.
Yeah, no, not that one. I'm talking about like
I know. Yeah. But I mean, it still didn't work because I think they poorly advertised. They didn't target the right crowd.
I barely saw the advertising on that one.
I think,
and I was even.
They thought people that love gangster movies were going to go watch it, and maybe that happened. But
yeah, that's what happened. The 50-year-olds that wanted
people that loved Godfather were there, and then they were disappointed because it wasn't Godfather Part 4.
Exactly.
So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino movie that we talked about several times. I wrote a blog post about it if anybody wants to read it. It's still doing well.
Where do we find
WhatIfGeeks.com?
Yeah, WhatIfGeeks.com. It's still making money, $11.6 million this weekend, but it's actually broke 100, which is Tarantino's done 9 movies. I think we decided, or 10. I don't know how we're counting.
I think this is 9.
Yeah,
this is supposed to be 9.
Yeah, Star Trek was going to be 10.
When we were talking 2 weeks ago, we were messing around about.
What do you count, like sequels?
Because he was like, "Are they counting Kill Bill 1 and 2 as one movie?" And I'm like, "No, not the way he initially said it." But when what did I say then? When he gets that creative bug and he wants to make another one, he'll be like, "Oh, well, yeah, these are sequels. That's one movie." I just made too much of a good movie, so I split it up.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's one movie.
Despite how popular all of his movies are for the most part, I mean, this is only the 4th one to ever break 100 million domestic. So I guess it's a bit of a thing for him. Doing well. So Good Boys will be out this coming Friday, right? The 16th.
Holy shit! Okay, yes, everybody go see this fucking movie.
Yeah, John's the only one that's seen it on some kind of special red carpet preview.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got some sneak. He got some sneak previews.
I wasn't here. I haven't been here for the last 2 weeks.
I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago.
We talked about it before you left.
We were talking about the Red Band trailer, and then...
we talked about the Red Band trailer and how it had a fight between my wife and I.
So, yes,
but I hadn't
Heather
heard
got. Yes, all right. So we have like the Cinepass thing, the membership that we do.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, they send Heather free movie tickets for a preview.
Right.
And like one was for like not the Crimes of Grindelwald, but the other one, Fantastic Beasts or whatever the hell it was. And she took her oldest son, and I sound like shit in my own ears right now because this cold is getting worse. So sorry. Lysol yourselves as you go out of the house.
To be sitting across the table.
It is, yeah. I'm going to sneeze on you too, fucker. But the last one was Good Boys, and it was like a week and a half ago we went to go see it. So yeah, dude, holy shit! Because at first I was like, oh, we got to see it like it was a Monday. We're going to go see it. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll go see it. It'll be cool. And then I didn't realize until after I got home and I looked online. I'm like, oh, this don't come out until like the 16th. Holy shit! Like we saw it way early.
Yeah.
I came on, and then because then the following Tuesday, the next day was when Eric came over. I was like, dude, you have to go see this fucking movie. Seth Rogen comedy.
Yeah.
The trailer that we watched, and it doesn't. The trailer doesn't even touch the shit that's in the movie.
Really.
Yeah. One of my biggest fears with comedies is they give all the jokes out.
Yeah.
Nope. You're going to love this fucking movie.
All right.
If you're allowed to
If
go.
I'm allowed to go. Where do I
All right. So we're going to tell Gail that you and I are going to go see Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
And since I already know about the cameos in that, and I pretty much know what's going on with that one, I'm good there.
Right.
I'm sure she'll ask how Hobbs and Shaw
Noah
was
can
and
tell us.
break it down for
Noah
her.
can break down Hobbs and Shaw. So you'll sound like an excited 7-year-old when you tell her about it. But then you and I will go watch Good Boys.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we don't talk about this on the podcast, so nobody will ever know.
It's a good thing she doesn't listen.
Yeah, good thing my wife does not listen to this podcast.
The only person she doesn't
tell
want to
him.
hear less when she doesn't have to than him is me.
Yeah. So, Blinded by the Light, also out Friday. I know, Paul, you were excited to see that one, so hopefully you'll get your tickets soon. So we got 2 bigger stories, which I thought I'd blow through that, and I really failed at it, so sorry. But 2 bigger stories. So, of course, Disney bought 20th Century Fox, right? And apparently 20th Century Fox had about 37 movie projects running, right? And because they've had so many losses over the past few years on the movies or whatever, Disney decided to go through the whole thing and basically chop anything they thought was going to maybe lose money. Now, all those projects were not in production. Some of them were just like options to do a movie or a show, and they just don't take the option. They don't really lose anything. I mean, they paid for the option, but you know what I mean. They haven't wasted any money with actors and producers and all this other shit. So a lot of them were that kind of thing, and they just said, fuck it, we're not going to do that. But there were some on there that are worth discussing, I think. So there's a handful of movies that are getting cut. Oh, I suppose it's worthwhile is that all of this is speculative because somebody that supposedly has insider knowledge went on Reddit and dropped a list of everything they were cutting and everything that they were planning to keep.
So after this, we're putting ourselves on suicide watch. We'll talk about that later too.
So it looks like.
You want to keep on going? I'm going to step out for a second.
Yeah, it's fine. I got plenty of.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit you can talk about.
So there's all the game to movie adaptions pretty much cut. They're getting cut. So that includes an Assassin's Creed sequel, a Hitman sequel, a Mega Man movie that was going to be based on the old title, a Sims movie that was going to be based on a computer game. I'm not sure how they would do that. Have you ever played that game?
Yes.
They talk like what?
Yeah, they talk in gibberish, and every once in a while you have to make them go to the bathroom and feed them. And
they gonna have a little thing
like a little diamond over their heads. Yeah,
and the movie be cartoony and actual. I don't understand how they were gonna make that. But.
As we started talking about this the other day on our Facebook chat, I'm okay with all of this. Like I'm okay with all of these cuts.
Yeah,
I can't. To your point about The Sims, there's no way that's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And for the fans' perspective, we just did the video game to movie episode,
and none of them are good.
And we pretty much decided they were all bad.
Yeah. So I think all they've done is save us from episode 2 of the three of us describe video games movies and tell you that they're all terrible.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I look at this. I'm like, what are you going to do with a Mega Man movie?
Yeah, I don't know. All I could think is it's got to be kid-oriented, cartoony. Is the only way you could even maybe draw an audience to that. You definitely can't do live action. Mega Man.
And they did a Hitman movie that wasn't terrible.
It wasn't too bad,
right?
But it wasn't deserving of a sequel either.
Correct. Yeah. And there's an Assassin's Creed movie.
Assassin's Creed, I think I might have mentioned this when we talked about it, but I fell asleep 3 times before I finally got through that movie. Like,
it definitely not deserving of a sequel. And when you think about why you started this with, the studios had a lot of losses. This is why, because you're trying to make The Sims the movie.
Yeah.
This is why you have losses.
Well, people have a million ideas, I guess. And I don't know who owns the Sim game con. That's Maxis, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Maxis?
Yeah.
So they had to pay.
I think it's EA. Yeah.
EA.
Yeah.
So they had to pay for rights to be able to make a movie on this.
Yeah.
And go through the. Oh, God.
They probably just went through and bought a bunch of, like you were talking about, a bunch of rights from different game makers and think maybe one of these will hit.
And this was probably around the time of Sims 3 or maybe early Sims 4 when it was super popular and there was like 20 expansions and people were buying.
Yeah.
Like, this was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right? And they probably bought the option and then years later said, let's fucking make a movie on this. We have the option.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're too late and it's a bad idea.
Right.
And so Magic the Gathering was the other one. I guess that's going to be would have been based on a card game. I'm not really sure what the plan was there.
I don't know how you make that into a good movie.
I don't either. I had a thought though, years and years ago, early 90s probably, Wizards of the Coast did a book series that was sort of based on the card game. Not really. It was kind of like just a fantasy story that happened to have wizards in it. And it's not like they carried around cards or something. They had... the way they played it out in there so that people would have like a limited thing, like you'd have a limited deck of cards, is that for every spell you had some like physical component, like a crystal or something that you would have to touch in order to like conjure up the creature or cast the spell, right? So they'd have a pouch full of their little things, and that's how they do spells. So, it wasn't really like the card game per se, but it just had elements of it. And the very first one of those, I think it was the first one, was called Arena. It was actually a really cool story, and I feel like you could make that into a movie, but you shouldn't call it Magic the Gathering. You should just make it a movie.
Right. Make a wizardy kind of movie.
Yeah, some kind of fantasy. You can have dragons and fantastic creatures and guys casting. So that's true. Yeah, I'm sure Wizards of the Coast wouldn't have been like, you could use our story and not put magic. No. Yeah. They're getting paid. They're getting paid either way. So, anyway, other ones that were not game-related that might have been good. Toymageddon was supposed to be a reboot of that original Small Soldiers movie. That is now cut.
That's too bad. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Small Soldiers is a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I thought so.
Did you already go over The Sims?
Yeah. We talked
So
about
so
that.
basically like Big Brother or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just
maybe.
fucking
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not really sure what they were
I
thinking.
caught that as I got back. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm back. It's John.
They were going to make a prequel to the Die Hard movies with McClane when he first started his policing career. I feel like that could have been a really cool story. Could have been.
Maybe.
It depends on who you cast. It's hard to do a Bruce Willis, a younger Bruce Willis, but they did in Looper. Looper did really well.
I was about to say, unless you get Gordon Levitt. He did a really good job of that.
And maybe they would capitalize on that. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's cut.
But that's not screaming for like, oh, how did John McClane become, this amazing cop that has survived, the Nakatomi thing a couple times?
Because before the buyout, they were talking about that movie like it was getting ready to come out. And the biggest complaint was, if you do anything, a prequel for McClane, you completely ruin the movie Die Hard. Because that whole movie is based on he's just a cop in town to visit his estranged wife, and he gets involved in this shit. He's supposed to be just an everyday cop or detective, or whatever he was, and that was it. Like he's supposed to be way out of his league. If you do these stories that show him doing other shit, again, what kind of you gonna do a movie about him walking the beat?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean. So there's no way.
Yeah, but by Die Hard with a Vengeance and a good day to Die Hard, like he becomes super cop.
Well,
Basically, yeah.
Up until the Samuel L. Jackson one, A Vengeance. Up until that one, I was on board. That's Endgame is playing behind us.
Oh.
Yeah, the kids are watching Endgame in the living room.
Oh, I see.
Tell Jesse to lower that a little bit. But
That is incredibly loud.
yeah, it's coming through the concrete wall. This kid.
All right, so there was a Flash Gordon reboot, which might have been interesting. So here's what I wonder about this one. So Disney, because they bought 20th Century Fox, who owns an option right to Flash Gordon movies, could remake this, but that's obviously DCEU, and CW already has a series, and I don't think you could have continuity there. You just have to completely do it over.
Wait, repeat what you just said.
The CW has a Flash Gordon?
He's doing the young Eric thing again.
Oh, am I?
Where
Sorry.
he didn't understand that Angel Has Fallen was part of a trilogy. Yeah, when we talked about that,
right?
Yeah, no. Flash Gordon is like from a long time ago. He's not the Flash.
Oh, okay, I got you. Never mind then.
I didn't even catch that.
Holy shit!
All right, fail again.
You're welcome.
I didn't catch.
Look,
well, here's the thing.
Well, then
I'm
give me
only
the
really
lowdown,
smart.
Give me the
when it
lowdown,
comes
though.
to
What's the
So Flash Gordon is like a 1930s comic strip.
Yeah.
And essentially it is sort of man out of time, and he's just he's a guy. I think in the 80s movie he's like the Jets quarterback that through some mishap ends up on planet whatever it is facing Ming the Merciless, and he's got no essential powers, no nothing.
No, he's just an all-American dude.
Yeah.
And he goes out into space and becomes a hero.
Yeah, it's just sort of every man becomes hero story, and you saw
Ted, right? The movie Ted with the teddy bear?
I didn't.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he's
half of that fucking movie is about Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
No wonder you didn't get that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I was going to bring up in here is like I don't get the appeal of Flash Gordon now. Like there's no power, there's no suit, there's no he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's
essentially John McClane in space.
Fantasy, right? He's not even a cop.
Very good putting those two together.
Not even a cop, like just a dude.
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, because there was when you first sent this to us in the message, I had on one hand I was like, whatever about it. I was kind of like, meh, okay, so you lost that one. And then I thought, well, it's a classic. So I kind of went to both sides of it. It would kind of be cool to see what they could do with it, but at the same time, again, all the purists would lose their shit.
Yeah,
it's Flash Gordon. You don't touch it. And what do? You have the other guy, the original one, come back for a cameo.
But the appeal then was sort of that just regular guy gets sucked up into space and becomes heroic. we've done that story.
Over and over again.
Right.
Yeah,
John Carter, all that stuff. And now we've got so many better stories and better heroes that going back sort of the retro Flash Gordon thing. I do not see the appeal to it. Now, side note that I thought while we were talking, these may be on the chopping block, but just like Star Wars, where they say, okay, this is all Legends now, Disney can kind of pick and choose what they want. You watch. If they suddenly get a good story for Flash Gordon or whatever else, they'll be like, put it on the streaming service.
Put it up there. Let's go.
Yeah. Why not?
They have a streaming service they're going to go to. It might be on the chopping block now, but they're going to hold on to it and see what they can do with it.
If they can make it for a relatively inexpensive amount, you could do a 8 to 10 episode run on the streaming service and just see who you get.
Yeah.
Right? The way Netflix did with Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil. Right? And those are pretty well done.
Yeah. Too bad you ain't going to see them again.
Right.
Whoops. All right, what else we got? The Boogeyman.
Boogeyman, Stephen King short. Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who wrote A Quiet Place, were writing the adaptation for that.
Yeah, when you first added that on our message, I was like, sweet. And then I realized that you were adding it under the chopping block.
Yeah,
and I was like,
on the
fuck.
chopping block.
So
I was reading this came about because Stephen King apparently liked A Quiet Place, and he posted a comment to the two writers on Twitter saying like, "Oh, that was awesome, great job," kind of thing. And then, a year later, they're writing a script adaptation for one of his books. So I guess that's how things work in Hollywood.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But anyway, that's on the cut list. Caves of Steel, which is an old Asimov story about robots that get banished from society and they have to go live in a cave. It's sort of something like what the hell is that movie with Will Smith?
iRobot.
iRobot. So sort of the end of that, where they're like all the similar concept to that.
It, sure.
And then there was a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen reboot, which I love League of Extraordinary Gentlemen myself. I thought that was a great movie, but I would like to see. But you didn't like that movie?
It was all right. You know what? Okay, yeah, I like what they tried to do with it. Mm-hmm. I would like to see them do it with today's special effects. Going back to one of those conversations where this will come back up again when we had that conversation of what would you like to remake with today's technology. Yeah,
so I would have liked to see that, but it's apparently on chopping block. So, there were a handful of safe movies that maybe, well, actually no, one I want to make fun of, and then the rest maybe.
Safe movies?
Yeah, movies that aren't on the chopping block that they're going to go forward with. They're already either in pre-production or post-production at this point, and they're not going to cut them because they've already spent too much money.
I got to be in Eric's head to read this list sometimes.
Yeah, sorry.
It's so good.
So there's another Garfield movie reboot. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be live action. You saw my note here.
Yeah,
for the love of God,
please, love of God.
Don't do an emotionless animal face movie.
You remember when he first posted this on the thing, I immediately ripped his picture of Simba from his Lion King review, and I posted it. I said, Disney's Garfield. 2020.
Yeah.
Why are we still making Garfield movies?
I don't know. I think because the money was already blown, they're keeping it. I can't imagine they think it's actually a good idea.
It's been 30 years since Garfield was a massive thing.
Well, and some of those
millennials hate
did,
Mondays.
And love lasagna.
Love lasagna. I was about to go there. Shit.
Sorry.
There you go.
Some of those movies, you never left. Some of those Garfield movies were fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like awful.
Right.
Like, nothing redeeming at all.
Take all the old Garfield shit, put it on the Disney Plus animated whatever, and then come up with a new animated show.
And all the animated shows are bad too. Like none of those are funny.
No, yeah, because all they are is like the comic strip
Yeah.
put in motion.
Yeah.
Like nobody put any kind of creative. All right, there you go. Disney can kind of throw that shit out there like on a Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon. I mean, it's gonna be streaming, so it's like whenever you want to see it, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like the shit you would just kind of find buried like in the middle of the week, nowhere. But then actually put forth an effort to make a damn cartoon that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Then do it like that. No more live action, semi-live action. No. No.
So also on
that same note, Lady and the Tramp is getting ready to come out too.
Yeah,
and that's the first thing Heather said was, it's going to be like Lion King. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's like, we're going to have like an emotionless tramp.
Just because?
Like, yeah, that's my ex-wife.
You can't. That's That's a burn. So Avatar 2 and 3 are both on the safe list, so they're both getting made, apparently.
No thanks.
They are not going to be... I think, from what I read, Avatar 2 is a sort of sequel to the original, but not really.
Right.
It's connected, but not part of the same storyline.
I heard it was like underwater.
Yeah, It is supposed to be underwater. I don't know. I don't know much about it. So the Avatar 2 is scheduled for end of 2021, and Avatar 3 for the end of 2023. So it's quite a ways out for both.
Look, I know a lot of people love these movies, so we're going to divide a whole bunch of people. All 8 of you. I don't know. But
It's 28 now. There's 28.
Yeah, I know. Holy shit. All 28 of you. Stand the fuck by. John's going to say something else stupid. I don't get it. Sorry. I just don't. I appreciated the special effects. All right. And I thought they were really good. Like, especially like when that movie first came out, I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. And then I rewatched it. Now, mind you, I go to Disney World and I go to Animal Kingdom and I ride the ride when you're riding on the Banshee, and holy shit, I'm blown away. This is amazing, right? But I watched Avatar again, and it was when you actually watch it a second time, you're like, all right, this is Dances with Wolves. That's all it is.
Well, we've said this before.
Kevin Costner fucked a giant Smurf, and there you go. So no, sorry, I have.
It's The Last Samurai. It's Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
It's all of the sort of I didn't like you, and now I'm one with you, and we fight together movies.
And when they say it's going to be underwater, you know what I get? It's going to be Aquaman.
Right.
So, look, dude, Cameron. I mean, I guess he's still going to be involved with it because even though Disney's just going to have him do it.
No, he's still
give us something new.
He's still directing both of them. Is what I read.
I tell you what. As much as I'm like, meh, just because I like the special effects and I enjoy movies, I can pass over the whole Dances with Wolves and whatever else, right? If you don't make an Aquaman and you give me a good movie, I can be on board with it because Disney's now dumping money into everything. You know what's going to tell us whether or not it's going to be good? Terminator Dark Fate. I think if that one somehow salvages all the dumb shit they've done with that franchise, because now he's back.
So, I didn't put it on the list, but just for what it's worth, it is not on the chopping block. It is part of that buyout, but it's not on the chopping block. It's safe, obviously. I mean, they've already done everything.
It's coming out in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But
So if that one's good, and again, we've spoken about the trailers too. Terminator trailers get me like Transformers trailers get me. Every time I'm like, you people suck. Next year, Terminator, whatever.
Terminator 12.
Terminator, yeah.
And then I start out with, really? And then here's a trailer, and I go,
take my money.
I want to see this.
Take my money.
Fucking every time. Now, again, after Terminator Genesis, your sister, whatever the hell that thing was, that bomb, I was just like, dude, can you just stop already? Stop. And then they came out with this fucking trailer. But because I listened to shit online, okay, Cameron's back, Linda Hamilton's back. I'm like, I've been saying this now. Well, Arnold's always back. It's his catchphrase. I'll be back. Again, and again, and again. I just kind of like, maybe. Then that trailer dropped, and I was like, maybe. So, again, either they got me once again, or because James Cameron came back for it, it's going to be really good. We shall see. And I think that's going to have me, that's where I'm going to stay on the fence on Avatar until I watch Terminator. And then I'll see if he's still got it, or he's just going to, drop another bomb. Okay, moving on.
Death of the Nile, which is the sequel to the Murder on the Orient Express. Which
I
saw that on a whim. I don't remember. It was probably a plane flight, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be shit, but whatever. I got burned to it. I was actually really impressed with that movie. I really liked it. I really did. I thought the whole thing was entertaining. The characters are super over the edge, interesting.
Yeah,
it was good.
In our doc, you were like, "Oh, yeah, I'm actually really excited about this," or "Well, I'm interested in this one." So I said, "Well, I guess I got to go watch Murder on the Orient Express." And you're like, "Yeah, you'll enjoy it." So
I think so. It's really entertaining. It's something of a murder mystery.
Yeah,
it's a theme that's played out, but they do the characters really good.
It's an Agatha Christie novel.
And then,
if you do the murder mystery right.
Yeah.
Like this one.
No,
was
that's
more,
right. They make it
serious,
really engaging.
Right?
Yeah.
The people are entertaining. The characters are like too big, but in a way that's enjoyable. You know what I mean? Like they're too over the edge. They're all sort of like they have sort of a thing, that's like no one is that ridiculous, but it works the way they play everything.
It works in that context. Yeah.
I like it. I really liked it.
Well, that was like surprisingly Murder Mystery, the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that actually was. Yeah,
I
we watched
enjoyed
that.
it.
That was funny.
Yeah, for a comedy, as close to Clue as you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're getting ready to remake that one too.
Yeah.
So we shall see with that one.
This is Murder on the Orient Express has a little bit of a Sherlock Holmesy vibe to it, but it's
it's
so
a little more
much
serious
more,
than
But it's not totally serious. There is a lot of not obvious but sort of jokey things in there that you're like, yeah. Anyway, I think the last one that's not on the chopping block I had here was the Z, which is supposed to be a Zorro movie franchise reboot. They apparently have options to do several movies. For me, if Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it, I'll watch it. So,
you know what? Yeah, I was about to shit all over this idea, and you just caught me. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's another one on my list.
She's probably not going to be in it.
I've got a pretty big fucking list, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Zorro, the character that I like. It's just sort of cool to me. So
he's the reason Batman's out there.
Correct.
I'm trying to remember somebody famous's son though is doing the writing and directing for this. It's gonna escape me. I'm sorry. I should have wrote it on the notes. But
all right. Well, I can say this much. Some of the Zorro shit that I've seen, the Antonio Banderas one, I enjoyed
that was
it.
pretty good.
Then there was a brief thing with a cartoon they tried to do to capitalize on some of that shit, but he had a laser sword and shit. I'm it was like Zorro meets Luke Skywalker kind of. It was really weird. I was you're gone. So if they've got the rights to Zorro, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Again, anything Disney's got the money for right now, I kind of give a soft pass to, just because you don't know. Maybe it'll be Jungle Book or Avengers or whatever, and maybe it'll be Lion King. I'm sorry, you will never live that one down. You suck. All right, I've given Eric as much time as I can.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to find it. Okay, so this isn't on the list, but we should talk about this anyway. And sorry if we turn this into a 2-episode thing. What are we at? Like an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so The Hunt. So The Hunt,
yes.
If you guys saw, Universal has canceled the release. I think it was supposed to be September 27th.
Yeah, we haven't taken the link to the trailer down, but you can't get to the trailer anyway. They took it off YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to get rid of that. Thanks.
So let's talk about this one.
So, a couple things. So, when I did
this could roll right into that other conspiracy thing too. By the way,
when I did the original post for this, so this is based on a book from the 20s, I think. And the concept is basically a guy, I don't know, crash lands on an island in a boat or something, and there's this Russian elitist guy that's hunting him like prey or something, right? And it's supposed to be sort of like a big game. Anyway, so
that's what the book is about.
Yeah, that's the book.
Yeah.
So then Lindelof, who did The Lost, the writer for The Lost, and another guy, Nick Hughes, who I think also he co-wrote Leftovers. So the two of those guys got together and decided to adapt this book into a modern day thing. So when I posted the trailer on there, I put a little blurb on it or whatever about what it was about, but I didn't realize at the time what they had done, which is that they had decided to change the story around a bit and make it a modern day political version of that. Right. So apparently the
people on one side of the fence are calling it a satire.
So is that book called The Most Dangerous Game?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
The Most Dangerous
Which
Game.
has actually been co-opted into multiple different movies.
There was a movie, right?
There are
Surviving the Game was in 1994 with Ice-T and Rutger Hauer and Gary Busey.
It's very similar to The Running Man.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So this has been expanded and modernized. So there's multiple different people now. It's not the book was one guy and another guy, but it's been expanded much more than that. There's groups of people on both sides, but the hunters are written in as the sort of liberal elites, and the hunted are written in as the redneck Trumpsters or something, right?
Basically, yeah.
We'll call them conservatives. I don't know if they're actually Trumpsters.
Well, no, there's a shot in there somewhere where they're literally called deplorables.
Deplorables, yeah, that's
Clinton's
right. They do
name
say that.
for all the Trump supporters.
Yeah.
So they've written this they've rewritten it as a political satire of sorts. Now, there's been a lot of funniness with this because on the left side of it, people have said, "Oh my God, gun violence! You're hunting people. There's stuff in Dayton, and like you cannot release this movie." Okay. Now on the other side, you've got people like Trump saying, "Oh, you guys are like the most racist people ever. Why would you write a story about?"
Well, not racist, but
not racist.
But
I don't remember what he said.
You're right. You're basically you're making this movie about you're not racist, but you're prejudiced against a certain viewpoint.
Anyway,
really.
So you got both these different arguments going on, and the backdrop of mass shootings, which is based on ideology, which is what this is largely about, even if it's satirical. So, they've obviously decided they're going to pull it now and wait. They didn't say they're not going to release it, and given the amount of money they spent, they are going to release it.
Oh, it's going to come out.
But it might be next February or something.
It might be straight to video too.
That would be terrible for them.
But now, here's the thing about that, though. All right, and again, I do my best. We've spoken time and again about we're not going to argue politics. Okay, we all have our beliefs, and for the most part, everybody knows by listening to this podcast that we all kind of lean right. I tend to be able to be swayed or persuaded over a little bit more left, kind of. So I sit in the central for the most part, right? Because I think they're all full of shit. But I'll call everybody out on their bullshit, right? And what I heard today, I'm not going to say who the website is because I don't want to get in a fight with them because we're not that big yet. But from some rather liberal pundits and whatever, talking about how this movie got shut down. And they were complaining about this movie was supposed to spark a deeper conversation among people. This is the argument that you always get from that side of things, okay? And leftists, I'm calling you out. This is the argument. Again, when you can actually have a discussion about shit is one thing. When you want to just complain and bitch and moan, this is what you get. You get this movie was shut down, so these people are complaining. Well, this was supposed to spark a conversation. There is no conversation because if you had switched this around, and it was a bunch of dudes wearing MAGA hats, shooting people, everyone else would have lost their shit. So, again, it's one of those very, very hypocritical things that really pisses me off. And again, I call out the assholes on the other side too. You want to shut down, or you want the racists that want to have all their rights and this and that, whatever. Too, I can't stand those guys either. Again, I'm right in the middle. But can you see your own hypocrisy? And on both sides, can you see what the fuck you're talking about? And that includes Trump too. Fuck them. This is all of them. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. Like, look at what the hell you're doing. Look what you're doing. And so to complain about this movie, no, this movie should have never fucking been made. It's stupid.
I think either side, when someone goes a little too far, they always I meant this to just start a conversation. Like that's the
excuse.
That's the excuse.
That's
right
the
or
fallback.
left. Right or left.
Yep.
It was I just said this to start a conversation, and it went too far. And if you were hurt,
if you're hurt, well, then you should look at yourself. Really. Yeah.
They do that non-apology, like, well, if you were offended,
It says a lot more about you than it does about our movie.
Yeah.
No, you're killing one group of people, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I don't know. How are they going to release this? Like, at what point will it be okay to shoot?
They'll go straight to
have
video
one
with
group
it.
of people shoot another group of people when there's not some sort of mass violence or some when will it be okay to release?
You know what
movie?
happened?
So given that it's Hollywood,
closer to election day,
and the things that
Probably,
I think January 2021,
right,
yeah,
could be the right time depending on who's sitting in the office of president.
Right. They'll drop it eventually, but you see, the thing is though, what happened there was some creative people on one side of the agenda got brave, got bold because everybody's against this, and everybody I'm listening to. are in agreement with me, so we should make this movie. And then that's what happened there. And they made that movie, and Universal backed it, and then immediately got a shit show back at them. And they said,
so I think if it wasn't for the 2 mass shootings that happened, they would have gone with it.
Oh, it would have gone. Yeah, they would have gone with it.
I think they would have released it.
They would have gone with it, but
I don't think
the fact that they backed out because and they're only talking about the mass shootings.
Yeah. In fact, in their official statement, they don't mention anything except for sensitivity around recent events. So it's very...
Please, by all means, shoot everybody on the right. That's going to be used in context.
I will say this: if they kept to the storyline in the original story, then the rednecks will win. Although many of them may die, but they will win. Yeah. So,
well, yeah, here you go, 2020. Stand the fuck by.
All right, so we can let that one die. I got one more that is not geek news, but
Eric is so nervous. You didn't realize that like the 28 people that listen to us, like 20 of them are pretty much the same as us anyway.
Well, everybody in my family is that way.
I know, whatever. And again, we always here. Let's end it on a nice neutral note because we're going to jump into something else that's really fucking bad anyway. We love to have the conversation, but we just don't because it never becomes a conversation. It always becomes a fucking argument, okay? Like I said, I think they're all assholes, and we need to try to find a way to balance out their bullshit together, and we don't. So, there you go. That
is supposedly the point of that political satire, right? How divisive things are, it's to the point where all you can do is kill each other. That is supposedly the premise of doing it that way.
Yeah, that's a great way to start a conversation.
Right. It is, and it's there's some truth to that though. If you really look at it, there's some truth to it.
Okay, I was trying to end it on a positive note. Now you got us killing each other again. I was trying to help you out.
Metaphorically.
You're the one that's worried about alienating people. I already threw Jesus on a boomerang and killed everybody.
That's true. That's true.
Jesus,
right, so, I'm not going to jump to what you think I'm going to jump to because I want to ask you guys a question. The Infinity Toy and Comic Con is coming up, not this coming weekend, but the one after. Are we going? Are we doing it?
Yep.
I can go on the 25th.
What the fuck day is that?
Sunday.
Okay, yeah, we can do it. All right. Yeah.
So it's $25 if you want to go both days, which I don't think any of us do. It's $15 to go one day, but kids under 10 and under are free, so we can take the kiddos with us and still try to.
Well, my new kid is really big geek too, so we can take her. That'd be an experience for her. She wants to experience America.
She won't be free.
You could pass her as 10, maybe.
She's small.
I did see on their website that there are some guests. I don't know what days they're going to be there. It doesn't say. But John Martino, who played Paulie in the Godfather movie, is supposed to be there. The Nasty Boys, they're a tag team.
Zags and Nogs.
Guys. Yeah, they're supposed to be there. It doesn't unfortunately say which day or anything, so I don't know. And then they're going to have that Iron Vet thing on display, the Iron Man Corvette with the converting hood.
Nice.
That could be cool, just to see it. The last one I went to, they had the Back to the Future, DeLorean on there. It was
probably
really fucking cool.
Easier to get around than MegaCon, I imagine.
Yeah, we're definitely.
I mean, given the price, you have to assume it's not huge.
Yeah.
Because the price difference is dramatic, but we could go take pictures. We could see what's there.
Yeah.
We could do a blog post. We could record videos. What do you guys think? I think we should do it.
Yep.
All right. So where are we at time wise? We're at an hour in already.
Yeah, an hour and 10.
Hour and 10. Holy.
I got to tinkle again.
Fucking A. All right. Let's. You guys want to pause and make the other one a second episode? We do later.
The top.
Now that I just rattled my trash can.
Top and bottom 5 movies. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
You gonna do that now or?
Yeah. Well, if you want to stop this, we can do the re-greet and just release it as a second one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
On Thursday or whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, then let's do our closeout for this one.
Right.
All right. So I'm gonna have to edit all that shit out. I'm gonna pee. All right. So that's this episode. It's a wrap. Let us know what you think. Hit us up at our new website, www.whatifgeeks.com.
Yeah. Thanks, Eric, for doing all that work. That was awesome.
No shit. You're doing all the work. I gotta get on there. I gotta pretend I give a shit. He's like, oh, yeah, you created it. I'll just make the website. And do everything else after that. Thanks, Eric. Way to show me up. And you brought me toys.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude. All right. So hit us up there. Hit us up at whatifgeeks at gmail.com. Instagram, Facebook, all that happy shit. And
do we have Twitter? Are we on Twitter?
We're on Twitter.
We're on Twitter. We actually have.
We've been on Twitter. We were on Twitter first.
Yeah, we have the most followers on Twitter.
Nice.
We were on Twitter before Eric got here, and you just now asking that question.
So I'm just getting back into Twitter.
I totally forgot too because I sat down. I double checked everything on iTunes. Today is our 40th birthday.
Oh,
we're over the hill after this episode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, happy 40th. So yeah, that's just, this is episode 40 for What If Geeks. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. How much of a clusterfuck we did this time. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Mom.
good night, Mom.